Good Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we are going to be going over what we can expect with the rest of Tropical Storm Sara as it continues to impact Honduras all the way up there towards the Yucatan Peninsula. It may still bring a little bit of impacts by the time it reaches Florida, but not gonna likely be a hurricane by the time it gets up there. But the thing that we're mainly focusing on is a few storm systems that will be rolling on through, which do look to bring the potential for severe weather down there in the Southern Plains, including Texas. And then we'll also be going over what we can also expect in the Ohio Valley, which we will have that potential for snowfall once again, with maybe a lot of cold air surging on down. So we will be going over all that. But if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button, as we will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest on Weather with Sim. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up too as well. Those help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. You guys can leave anything down below as long as respectful, and I will get to those right after today's weather forecast. But let's first go ahead and quickly look at what we can expect with the rest of Tropical Storm Sara, as it is still currently bringing a lot of impacts down there towards northern Honduras, all the way up there towards Belize, and as well as up there towards the Yucatan Peninsula, like I said. So we will need to be watching this very closely as this continues to move through this area in Mexico, as we could still be seeing anywhere from 20 to 30 inches of rainfall, guys. Now, a lot of this has already fallen, but by the time it does update next, you guys will still likely maybe get another foot or two of rain by the time this updates. So make sure to get prepared for some potentially historic flooding if you do live down here towards Honduras and Mexico, as once again, Tropical Storm Sara is still going to be around here, and this is pretty much the middle part of it, and it still has a long ways to go before it passes that entire area. So once again, make sure you get prepared for potentially historic flooding, as anywhere from 20 to 30 inches plus of rain is definitely possible with the system. And then after it passes Mexico and brings, like I said, potentially some historic flooding, most models show it, dying down, because some of them are just saying that it will stop about here and then just completely die down. But some also show it going up here towards Florida. And like I said, this isn't going to be a hurricane by the time it reaches Florida, because these only show 96 millibars. That's only a low end tropical storm to just, a little band of heavy rain. That's really all we're thinking as of right now. And I know this is a huge difference compared to what we were telling you guys a few days ago, but this is, starting to get a little bit less concerning for Florida. But we will still be watching for some flooding by the time it does work its way up here. And like I said, some of the models do show this dying down completely, but some of them also show it making its way towards Florida. So like I said, not likely to be a hurricane, tropical storm, or even depression by the time it reaches this area, but will still likely be a heavier band of showers and storms that rolls on through, which could bring that potential for some minor flooding. So we will be watching it by the time Sara gets up there. But let's now go ahead and look at some storm systems that we really do need to watch for closely. And as you guys can see, we currently have a storm system that we are tracking here in the plains, which does look to bring that potential for severe weather as we head into tomorrow and as well as into Monday. So we will need to be watching the storm system very closely by the time it develops down here in the plains, which we aren't doing with any impacts down here in the plains as of right now. But like I said, though, by the time we head into both tomorrow and as well as into Monday, we could maybe even see quite a bit of severe weather down here, as the latest from the Storm Prediction Center is currently forecasting a slight risk for severe weather in parts there of Texas, as you guys can see. So we will need to be watching Texas very closely, as we do have that potential for for a couple of isolated spin-up tornadoes. We also do have that potential for some damaging winds between 60 to 70 miles per hour. And we also do have that potential for some isolated large hail too as well. So, main concern for tomorrow really does look to be that wind threat, as that's the only risk that's a 15%. But, we still can't rule out a couple of isolated tornadoes and as well as a couple of isolated large hail. So we will need to be watching that very closely as we head into tomorrow, like I said, as we will have that potential for all hazards, but it's mainly going to be that damaging wind threat once again. So we definitely will need to keep an eye on it closely. And then for Monday, which will be after tomorrow, this storm is still going to continue to bring impacts there across this area right here, heading from southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, all the way back down there towards southwest Louisiana and as well as southeast Texas, but it's mainly going to be right here along the Dallas-Fort Worth area where we're going to see that highest potential for damaging winds, large hail, and maybe a few tornadoes. We'll have to see how the storm system does tomorrow, which will determine what we see Monday next week. But as of right now, though, our current thinking is almost all hazards. It's just going to be a low hail and tornado threat on Monday, but we will, like I said, need to be watching it closely as they haven't issued the hazards yet, but we will be able to see them as we head to tomorrow, so make sure to stick around for that, and we might even need to go live for one of these, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest on weather with Sim. And it's obviously not a guarantee that I go live, but like I said, there is a chance, so make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos or live streams that I do. And then after that, that storm system will continue to head towards the northeast, continuing to bring that potential for heavy snow and rain across this entire area right here. It's especially going to be this area right here where we see that highest potential for quite a bit of heavy snowfall, as that cold air will be beginning to wrap around, bringing some pretty big snowfall impacts to parts there of Indiana and as well as Ohio, but especially areas north of the Ohio River look to be at that highest risk for heavy snowfall. So make sure to be watching out by the time we get into the end of next week, which will be around the November 21st time frame, and that will still continue even as we head into November 22nd, with still some isolated to scattered snowfall ongoing across parts there of the Ohio Valley and as well as into the Mid-Atlantic. So, you guys might even need to watch by the time we even head into Friday of next week, which once again will be around the November 21st to November 22nd time frame. So, we will be watching it very closely, like I said, by the time we head into that time frame. But as of right now, though, we are still a little uncertain on how exactly this will play out, as maybe areas a little bit far to the west might get a little bit of this, but this mainly shows most of that snowfall occurring east of the Wabash River. But like I said, we will keep an eye on it as some changes are still possible. And then if we look at those temperatures, like I said, before that cold air surge on down, we will likely see a lot of heavy rainfall across this area. But, by the time this cold air surges on down, like I said, it's kind of going to wrap around like this, which is one of the reasons why Ohio looks to be in the bullseye for some heavier snowfall. So that's one of the things that we do need to keep an eye on, as that potential will still be there by the time we head, like I said, around the November 21st time frame. So we will need to be watching this area very closely, as, like I said, we will likely see some shot of cold air move on down into this area. And even if you don't see snowfall, even areas as far down south as Florida, areas as far west as New Mexico, and even areas as far north as the Dakotas could really be seeing, some pretty well below average temperatures. But once again, it really looks to be the Ohio Valley, which really looks to be in the bullseye for both cold and wet conditions. by the time we head into the November 21st time frame. So like I said, we will be watching that closely by the time we head into the end of next week. And, if we take a look at another storm system that we could be seeing, we aren't showing you guys this to tell you guys that this is exactly what we're going to see. We're just, kind of letting you guys know that as we head into the end of November and as well as the beginning of December, we might have another storm to watch closely for, as this one, is definitely more of your typical winter storm right here. But, this is almost at the end of the model run, though, so obviously take this with a grain of salt. I probably shouldn't have pointed this out anyway, but like I said, though, this is still something to keep an eye on, though, as that is something, similar that as, we head into the end of November and as well as the beginning of December, which is also when my winter forecast is expected to be out. I am still working on some of it right now, but it's actually almost done, so I am planning on releasing it probably, either at the end of next week or, the week after. It's going to be sometime at the end of November when I release it, so make sure to stay tuned for that by subscribing and as well as clicking that notification button so you don't miss out on my winter forecast, which will be my official one, by the way, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that one. So like I said, make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on that at the end of this month. But like I said, though, we definitely are still uncertain about that system, but we will continue to keep an eye on it closely. But after that snowstorm across the Ohio Valley is done, we are expecting a lot of snowfall across both the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and as well as into New England. And this is anywhere from now all the way to November 25th. So this kind of does head a little bit into the week after next week. So, if you do live in central and northern Indiana, into central and northern Ohio, into places like Pittsburgh, up there towards northern New York, and as well as into Maine, you guys are likely to see at least a couple of inches of snowfall, if why not some isolated totals near a half a foot. So we will need to be watching those areas very closely. I also want you guys to remember that, it has been very warm lately, so don't be surprised if a lot of the snowfall does melt on contact. But like I said, though, this is still going to be something to keep an eye on, as, this still could maybe be a little bit on the severe side of things for how much snowfall we're going to see. But like I said, we will continue to keep an eye on it closely, but this still does remain uncertain, as some shifts in where we expect snowfall could still be possible. And then after that, we also do expect there to be a lot of heavy snowfall across the Cascades as we head into November 25th, so we will definitely watch that area closely too, as well as 40 inches plus of snowfall is likely, especially in the highest elevations over there. We even see 68 popping up, which is just really crazy. So definitely a great area for snow lovers to go to if you guys want to do those ski resorts and all that stuff there. It's gonna be awesome for how much snowfall there is there. So like I said, though, this is really above average for these areas, and they are already seeing the worst out of it. So like I said, this is a really good area for snow lovers to go to, as like I said, 68 inches is already well above average for this time of year. But, and then if we go ahead and take a look at the total rainfall, as you guys can see, we are expecting once again a lot of rainfall across these areas. Even if you don't see snowfall, rain is still going to be quite likely across a lot of those areas. I am more concerned about down here towards Florida, as like I said, Tropical Storm Sara could definitely make its way up there. Not as a tropical storm, because like I said, it does really look to be dying down, as it is going to be entering cooler waters, but still could continue as a heavy rain band by the time it makes its way up there in Florida. So like I said, we will continue to keep an eye on it closely, but it doesn't really look to bring any significant impacts, at least from what we know so far. So you probably don't really have to worry too much if you live in Florida, but like I said, we will continue to watch it very closely. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy today's weather forecast. Like I said, make sure to subscribe so that we don't miss out on any live streams or weather updates that I do on Weather with Sim. So make sure to do that if you haven't already. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up too as well. Those help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. You guys can leave anything down below as long as it's respectful. And I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone. Oop.